This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust that today you will consider this like your vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, TuneIn, just about everywhere. And spread the word around. And if you could leave a rating and a brief written review, it will enable people to be able to discover this podcast. Today I want to talk to you about what have you learned? Have you ever just stopped for a moment and reflected over the years of your life, and especially the years that you have been in leadership in whatever capacity you want to include it, and just ask her thing, what are some of the lessons I have learned? President John F. Kennedy said that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. In other words, you can't do one without the other. Now, I guess you could be a lifetime learner and never be a leader, but you'll never be an effective leader at home, at school, at church, and business unless you really dedicate yourself to learning. And the other thing that I think of is a quote that was attributed to Michelangelo, who said, the true Renaissance man, "I am still learning." He said this later in his life. I ask you the question today, my friend. I asked a group of leaders the other day this question. I know that it's poor and improper grammar, but I was trying to make a point. I said, what I'm interested in is what have you learned since you knew it all? Many times, especially if you're in a position that required an academic degree, we so focus on that degree. And I've gone to college, so I get that. And I get how hard a slog that can be, and you just have to be dedicated and committed to that. And then I meet people who it's almost as if I have graduated from college, therefore my official learning is over. The fact of the matter is, it's a scary thing if you haven't learned anything in the past 5, 6, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. You have to be continually learning. Most professions have continuing education. We don't want a doctor operating on us, an attorney representing us who hasn't kept their skills up, who haven't kept up with all of the changes not only in society and culture, but even in their own profession. We would not want any professional to help us who quit learning 10 years ago. We want someone to stay abreast and stay up to date with what's happening in their field of endeavor. So, what have you learned? Maybe I should have said it in the present tense. What are you learning? What are you learning right now? I think I have told you the story of when I was asked years ago by my superior to mentor a person who lived in my town. In order for him to get the proper credentialing that he needed, he had to meet with me. And I called him, and this is back in the days of voice messages where you left voice messages on people's telephones. And I went a few days, never heard back from him, left another. I left him about 3, and he never got back with me. So I called my superior and said to him, I'm sorry, I've tried to reach him. He does not return my calls. I'm not thinking he's wanting to meet with me. To which my superior said, well, I will give him a call, but he absolutely, if he wants to get where he wants to go, he absolutely has to spend time and be mentored with you. Finally, the individual did return my call. He finally called me by my first name and said, I really don't know why the doc insists that I meet with you. After all, I've done what we've been doing for about 8 years, and he said, I just don't know what I could learn from you. Well, I think he meant it as an insult, perhaps. I don't know that he meant it as an insult, but it was one of the most frightening sentences I've ever heard out of a colleague. I don't know what I could learn from you. I discovered in my life that if I would stop and listen to a 4-year-old and really listen to them, oftentimes I would learn something. So, what have you learned or what are you learning is always start from this angle. You and I can learn something from anyone. Don't look down on someone if they don't have the education or the experience or the background. There are lessons to be learned from everyone. Now, let me give you the flip side of that coin. You do need to be careful who you listen to. I probably wouldn't take diet tips from a 400-pound person. I probably would not take financial advice from someone who's filed for bankruptcy multiple times. I think one has to ask yourself the question, has this person who's trying to tell me what to do, have they even applied the truth that they say is important in their own lives? In other words, it's not just enough for us to get advice from people. We need to get advice from the right people, the people who have actually put their advice into practice. Now, I'm going to talk about another great teacher that I've learned immensely from, and that is experience, or the School of Practical Experience. You may know it as the School of Hard Knocks. And there have been 2 areas in my experiences that have taught me and taught me well. The first is from the things that went well. I don't want to necessarily say the successes, but things that we really worked on, we planned, we strategized, we put the team together, got the budget in place, executed it with excellence, the team, and you can kind of afterwards look at what worked. What really helped us for this to be successful? Kind of write it down or make a note. Now, as much as I have learned in my lifetime from things going well, I have to tell you that one of my greatest teachers has been failure, setbacks. You know, I've gone to seminars my entire professional life of 35 to 40 years. I have never gone to a seminar that was entitled 19 Things That I Did That Failed Miserably, and Here's What They Are. As a matter of fact, it's often very challenging to be sitting in a seminar and every speaker tries to top the last one. It seems like everyone that is on the stage making a presentation has gone from one victory to another. Now, fast forward, I have had the opportunity to speak to individuals and groups. And I'm here to tell you that just because someone has the microphone and someone has a PowerPoint presentation and someone is supposed to be an expert on something does not mean they have gone from one victory to another. There have been times of setback and defeat. And I have to tell you today, some of the greatest lessons I have learned came when I thought I had all that I needed and pushed ahead, but left out some important components. Don't let failure be your undertaker. Let failure be your professor. Let it be the one who delivers lessons. Now, I understand that immediately and initially you're not in an emotional state where you're going to receive many of the good lessons there. But I can look back over my life, 38 years that I've been involved in what I've been involved with, and I can tell you, I really did learn a lot from stubbing my toe, making mistakes, having things blow up, not literally, but figuratively. And oftentimes, leader, one of the greatest lessons you can learn is how not to do something. It's sort of like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, as he was inventing the incandescent light, said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways it won't work. Now, I don't know that I've ever stuck with anything for 10,000 failures, but I can tell you I have dozens of things that I could tell you, don't try that, it doesn't work. But if you're going to learn, and you're going to be a constant student, you're going to learn from things that go well, but you also need to learn from things that don't go well. One of the things that I've learned is I always need to know my purpose. If I'm just trying to be successful, if I'm just trying to go from victory to victory, that's not why you're there. You have to know, what is your purpose? What is your defining purpose? What is the desire that gets you out of bed in the morning and keeps you going? What is your vision? What is your mission? And don't ever lose sight of what your purpose is. Don't outlearn your purpose. One of the other great things that will help you to learn is, and one of the greatest things that I have learned is, I have to make decisions. Being a decisive leader is a crucial skill that nearly every organization in the world needs right now. Your organization needs you to make a decision, especially if you are in that leadership capacity. You're not just there for what you know. You're not just there for where you went to school. As important as those considerations are, and I'm not depreciating them, but you are a decision maker. I think of hearing Seth Godin tell people, you may describe yourself or define yourself by the job you hold, but your job is to be a decider, to make decisions. My friend, quit putting off decisions that you and everyone else knows needs to be taken and done, and just screw up your courage, get ready, trust the Lord if you're a person of faith, and make the decision when you have the input, the decision, feedback, whatever it is, make a decision. One of the other things that you need to learn, and is a part of the learning process, is we really need leaders who will be change agents. I don't mean that just come in and change everything just for the sake of changing everything, but will be a positive change agent. Because for most organizations in the world today, there are some things that need to be changed. Wise is the leader who knows the core values and knows the indispensable things that cannot be changed and must never be changed. But there are a lot of other things that really would make us operating at a much more optimal level if we just began to make some of the changes. Here's one way that I've learned a lot, and this has been one of the harder lessons for me to learn, and that is I've had to learn to talk less and listen more. I do not come by this naturally. I am by nature an extrovert and a talker. I was just in some recent meetings at the university where I graduated from, as we are now in a presidential search. And I had the privilege, as vice chairman of the board, to be able to sit in some of the focus groups, students, staff, professors, alumni. And I learned so much by listening to young students, listening to staff, listening to the faculty. I sat and said very little, which was a painful exercise in many ways, but a needed exercise, in that a lot more learning takes place in a leader's life if we talk less and listen more. One other thing that you need to learn, and that will help you be a better learner as a leader, is just be yourself. If God wanted you to be someone else, He would have made you someone else. But for whatever reason, known only to Him, He made you and me to be who we are. You don't have to be someone else, but you really do need to be the best you that you can possibly be. I think when you are a leader and you are learning, you learn the value of being transparent. If you don't know, say, I don't know. It's all right once in a while to be vulnerable. Now, I'm not talking that you tell deep, dark, hidden secrets of the organization or other individuals. But people, when you have credibility, will appreciate your vulnerability and your transparency. Another way to learn is to support yourself with really bright, articulate, wonderful people on your team. I've heard another person say it, don't ever be with your team and be the smartest person in the room. There are some leaders who are so insecure in themselves that they have to be the brightest bulb in the package, or at least in their opinion. And they can't have anyone on their team outshine them. Leader, perhaps there could be nothing greater said about you other than the fact that people so enjoy working with you. You are such an awesome leader that people who are above you and are stretching you are comfortable being on your team. Surround yourself with the best and brightest and turn them loose and let them work. Another lesson learned, and something you need to learn, is you can't do everything. Some of us have tried and we can't. Find the things that you bring to the organization that no one else can do and do them with all your might. And then bring volunteers or staff around you to do the other things, to fill in the gaps, to build a really strong team. Being clear is more important than being right. Some of us fall into this idea that because we're the boss, because we're the leader, we have to always be right. In your communication, quit defending yourself and quit trying to make yourself out to look right and better, and rather make the goal of your communication to be, I want to be clear. I want people to understand. Here's what I'm deciding to do in these later years of life. 2/3 of my ministry and my work are done, or more. I want to be the leader that I would follow. That's the kind of leader I'm wanting to develop. The other thing is, there are a lot of things that I've talked about today that are hard. And I've already told you there's some things that I've had to develop that didn't come natural to me. Just remember, everything is hard until it becomes easy. And it only becomes easy because you work through the hard things and you just show up and do them. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom. Words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today that this has been like a vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? And I would be deeply grateful if you'd leave a rating and a brief written review. Remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.